What's happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Andy and I'm the founder of MMG Design. Today I'm going to be taking you guys through a little bit of a walkthrough of how I use AI in my web design and UI UX process. We're working with a client right now called Exact Benefits. We've worked with them on a couple other of their subsidiary brands, Exact Medicare, Vibrix Pharmacy, Vibrix Technologies. And one of my personal goals is to be using AI in my design process more. And I'm going to take you through a start to finish of how we use it, starting at our kickoff calls, how I use it in ideation, and running it through multiple tools to see what kind of outputs we get based on the brief that we've created using our inputs. I'm going to be using 4 different tools in this video. I'm going to take you guys through and show you the outputs. And if you stick around until the very end, I'm going to show you guys how I use a bonus tool to actually get that into Figma so I can create some editable designs from what it actually creates. So without further ado, let's dive on in. So I want to start at the very beginning. I've copy pasted the exact prompt that I used for all of these, and as you can tell, it is fairly long. It's about 7 pages here in a Google Doc, but I just wanted to have it here to kind of aggregate so you guys can reference it, and I can link it below in the description as well if you guys want to see it, but it's more just for this exact client, so it's not going to be one-to-one relevant. But basically what I've done here, starting at the very beginning, is I copy pasted the transcript from our kickoff call. Now, I'm not going to be sharing with you guys the exact details of that call, nor should I be even showing the transcript here. But basically, it's just added a bunch of context for the AI to work with. And in this call, it was me, the founder, the CEO, a couple of the project managers, people that were stakeholders in the project. And from this, I wanted to create a brief. So we talked about things that we wanted to include. We talked about the main CTA, the newsletter, what the console would look like, some features that we wanted included in the website, like a pricing calculator, some of the design aesthetics, things like that. And I've created a ChatGPT project here in the left bar, as you'll see. And I've uploaded a brand guidelines that we got from our designer. Shout out Jason Turner, who absolutely crushed it with our design. So I'm going to bring up the brand guide super quick here so you guys can see what I loaded into the project. If you go into ChatGPT, what you have to do is just go into the project files and then just add that right there. I've uploaded the PDF version of this brand guide. If you click into it, you'll actually be able to preview it, which is cool. But this is what the brand guidelines looks like. It has things like our typography, different variations, brand colors, some usage restrictions. We have Roboto for our typography for the headings, and it clearly identifies that Lato is the body font that's going to be used. Has each of our color codes and use cases for each. Has brand personality, keywords, and imagery direction. So this is a lot of good content for it to work with, and especially if you can prompt ChatGPT with things like this in order for it to create a better output for us, it's just going to make a better product in the end. So that is what we did, and then I'm going to go to the chat here to show you more of what it worked out. And I basically prompted, I said, okay, I want you to create a prompt based on the transcript of this kickoff call for a homepage for Exact Benefits. I said, include the reference from the branding guidelines and also the transcript from the call to make your exact recommendations. And if I could go back and do this again, what I would do is say, okay, these are the exact tools that we are working with. We're going to be using Aura.build, Lovable, Bolt, Magic Path, and Base 44, so 5 different tools. And I would say create a unique prompt for each of them, because these tools have different prompts that, different types of prompts that actually let it generate the best output. So if I could go back in time, hindsight's 2020, I'm not going to do that right now. But that's the prompt that I gave it, and it gave us this prompt right here, which you will see here in Google Docs. So it says positioning and story, broke it into how many sections, look at the table of content, broke it into 5 different sections. So it's basically just talking about everything we referenced in the transcript of the call. So brand positioning and story, size, scope, and structure, talking about our CTAs, what we want our heading and what we wanted our headings and subheadings to be. We wanted to anchor on the cost benefit. It also added a lot of context based on who the audience was, so that it could appeal a design to that. Lead capture and forms. So what we wanted, the big benefit we wanted here is that the prompt actually managed to create a really good documentation of what we wanted for our savings calculator. So it just said, okay, we want 73,000 times employees. It wrote a little equation that the prompt is then going to use to develop something like that. As you guys are going to see, the outputs are going to be pretty good. So this is a good thing too, is making sure we have all of the context, and that's what transcripts are really good for. It's a lot of exact one-to-one context that it can pull from directly from the source, from these conversations that we're having in the beginning as we ideate what this brand is. So now I'm going to jump directly into the tools that we use to actually put this prompt to work. And I use this exact prompt for every single one. The tools that we're going to be going through are aura.build, bolt.new, lovable.dev, magicpath, and base44. I have high hopes for a lot of these. I have used them before, so check out some of the other videos that I'll link up here in the card going over some of these other tools. But I want to show you what each of them give me, what each of these tools gave me with all of this context. So the first one we're going to be going over here is aura.build, and I have deployed this. So I'm going to click publish and then copy the link directly. So I just deployed our result from aura.build, and I'm going to preview it here in the right tab. As you guys can see, aura.build, usually a really good design tool, did not do a great job in my opinion. Did a good job of retaining some of the brand colors, has our lime green, has all of our CTAs, has the form that we wanted for our intake, has our benefits, why it matters, what employers get, savings. It has a savings calculator that doesn't actually develop, so not overly stoked there. But all in all, it's just a lot of text, and it's just not a great thing. One thing we also did want to make sure that we included was a webinar sign-up page, so some kind of a thing for that. And it had a little bit of a preview of that down here at the bottom, but didn't do a great job of bringing it to life. I'm pretty disappointed with that, but some of the main elements that it did get the top tab here. It got some of the benefits. It has the right form information, and it does have a pricing calculator, although it doesn't work. Now, if I were to go back into Aura and try and prompt this a little bit, I could probably get a better feedback. But what I do like is how it has a more visual editing interface. So if you go into layers here, that's why I like Aura, and usually it does a better job of creating visual output on the first try like this. But all in all, I'm not really impressed with what we're seeing from Aura, although it did have some good elements that we can pull from. Next tool we're going to try is Lovable.dev. Lovable is a very well-known tool. It's probably one of the earliest ones in sort of the AI design sphere. But I gave it the exact same prompt for exact benefits, and I'm going to refresh the page here. I'm going to click publish. And deploy, and this is what we have for Lovable. So you can see you got the headline correct, Medicare support for employers, good subheadlines. If we check in at the fonts here, see if it got our fonts right. It has Roboto for the header, Lato for the subheadlines and body copy. I see layout-wise, this is probably the best one yet. For some reason, none of these AI tools can really get our logo right, although it gets it directionally correct, but definitely not all the way there. Scroll down. I like how it has both of our brand colors kind of above the fold with a nice soft background. Next, it has why this matters. It has our exact benefits, what employers get. So here's our benefits section, a little bit of a blurb right here. Has a pricing calculator. See if this works. Correct. Looks to be working. So 1, 10, 73,000. 20 would be 14.6. That's correct. Oh, got that wrong. No, so it speeds up too fast. So that's something we'll have to fix. Actually, no, that's right. Yeah. So it got all the additions right here. I like how it has this little acknowledgement in the bottom. Again, all the layouts are just kind of being reused. So not a lot of originality in terms of layout. Not very custom, as you can tell. Another benefits section, another grid layout here at the bottom. One thing I do notice is it doesn't have any type of form. It just has a CTA with blocks here at the bottom. So I'm not overly stoked from that standpoint. But bonus points here for the pricing calculator. I'm pretty impressed with that, to be honest with you. I might find a way that I also like the FAQ section. It's got some good interactions as well. Some nice little glow features, same as above the fold here with the hero section. But even if you click into any of these, we're not going to get a great output. And but there are some good elements I can pull from. Retained our brand colors very well. I like how it manages our CTAs very nicely. It organizes it in a way that's not overly overwhelming. So I'm liking what I'm seeing here. So that's Lovable's output. All right, the next tool we're going to be using to get some ideation from and seeing how well it retains our prompts in our brand guide is bolt.new. Bolt is a tool that I have used before and have had good results with, so I'm excited to see what it can come up with. So if we preview it here, I just updated the link. Some really interesting things right here. I think just from a conceptual design standpoint, I don't recommend having more than 2 CTAs above the fold. And this kind of does that, but we did prompt that because that's what the prompt gave us, so I'm okay with that. I like how it uses both of our brand colors. If we check our fonts and see how well it retained that, you can check into it. Roboto and Lato did that right away. I was sure to include fonts that were default Google fonts and not paid ones, so we wouldn't have any trouble rolling those in. But I do really like this section. Great benefits, 0 cost, 100% dedication. I do like that a lot. I also like how it had the subtext of powered by Exact Medicare. That's a really good idea. And kind of my general overwhelming philosophy with all of these tools is that I'm seeing small things that I can eventually take back into design to make better. I like how it has the email sign up above the fold too. Like it has actual input fields, so it's going to be higher converting from that standpoint. Why it matters section with our exact copy. Benefits section, all at 0 cost to your organization. We have the pricing calculator. I do really like that. See, that is all correct. This is just the beginning. I don't really like that. This is just the beginning. Schedule a consultation. That I'm not stoked on. I would like to have a better focus on the number as well. But this is a really cool section right here. Got some good contrast. A lot of better things. A lot of improvements we can make here. I'm just going to say that. Not great contrast here with this section. Too many bullet points. I do really like the flavor and take that Bolt gave us on our webinar section right here. As you guys can notice, in the Lovable site, it wasn't even including any of our webinar information. So that's kind of a bummer. If we go to webinars here, everything just redirects back up. Oh, okay. So Lovable is actually the only one that gave us multiple pages. So false alarm. Lovable actually gave us 2 pages based on our scope. It has what a sample webinar page could look like. And if we click into register now, it'll just redirect back to the same page. We click back into the logo, go back to home, resources. What does that page look like? It didn't make that page. So actually, yeah, I really like what Lovable did there. But anyway, back to Bolt, so that way we don't jump around too much. Bolt gets the points for the best calculator so far. Between Bolt and Lovable for the calculator, I think they both did a really good job, and I'm stoked to see that. Again, and the pricing calculator is something I kind of expected to be directionally accurate because it's development. It doesn't take a lot of taste in order to make a good design. Like, design is a lot more taste, code is a lot more objective, so that's why we're getting better results here. But I do like some of these elements right here that we could play with kind of moving forwards. The next tool we're going to be going into that we use is called Magic Path. And I was really excited to try this one because it is a more designer-friendly tool. Again, I gave it the exact same prompt here in my build mode. One thing I did notice is that I ran out of credits while I was using Magic Path. But they have a really cool incentive system to where if you answer a few questions for their users and they give them a little bit of feedback, then they'll let you continue using a full prompt. So I thought that was pretty cool. But if we go into the preview here, you just click that little globe icon and get a preview. I told it with this one, it actually prompted me to answer more questions after I put in the prompt. So I answered a couple questions. I said to use placeholder images instead of natural photos, so that way I can put those in later. It does have the same powered by Exact Medicare. I think the layout on that is awesome. If I look at the Font Ninja here, by the way, this is just Fonts Ninja. It's a tool that we use to identify fonts on a web page. And it got our fonts right, Roboto and Lato. So if we scroll down, it has a good hierarchy of CTAs. I'm noticing this one too has a lot more interactions, which I do enjoy. We scroll down here too, benefits. Yeah. Another pricing calculator. Let's see if this one's developmentally looking good. 73,000, 100. Yep, all the math is turning out correctly. Custom, I like that CTA there. Okay, design-wise, this is definitely the best one so far. Shout out to Magic Path, this is really good. Same sort of benefits section here. Really good webinar section here too, wow. Webinars, just a redirect down back to that page. FAQs, not the greatest interaction on that. I really like this contrasted CTA here at the bottom. The guide, yeah. So a big thing I wanted to do here was to make sure I included just a ton of context. I wanted to have multiple CTAs, which again, I wouldn't recommend just as a general like web design, web development principle. But it's getting all of our copy right, got our fonts right, got our brand colors right, and it developed the full pricing calculator. And I really like these event cards too. So I'm pretty stoked on what Magic Path has done for us here too. I think this is by far taking the cake from a design standpoint, which I'm stoked to share. Yeah, a lot of good small elements. I think if I had to pick one section, it would be the webinar section and also the pricing calculator. I think this one wins the cake for the pricing calculator. I love how it's full width. I'm really enjoying that, and it displays the numbers in live time too. So great stuff from Exact Benefits right there. The fifth and final tool we're going to be going over today is called Base 44. Now, Base 44 is kind of the new kid on the block. And, you know, I think they were recently acquired by Wix, which, I mean, definitely not a huge fan of Wix and would not recommend them for your build platform. We've had some negative experiences there. But if I publish the app and then I go into the preview mode, it's going to take us over here. All of these, by the way, these demo sites have some kind of a base branding here in the bottom. As you can see, this one says edit with Base 44. But if we look above the fold here, okay, wow. So we kind of went the same overwhelming route as we did with the first couple. But I mean, I am seeing a couple things that I'm liking here. So horrible imagery, that's to be expected. I do really like this banner section, and if I click into it, it'll actually take me to the Exact Medicare site. We didn't design this. We're currently redesigning this section, this page for Exact Medicare right now. So stay tuned for that and that case study. But if we look at this, I do like how it's implemented some of our colors. I like how it's got the newsletter sign up here above the fold. Really good stuff. Good benefits section. Really good interactions. Yeah, nice tabs. Nice icons on the tabs. Really good placement. I like how it has the subtext beneath the logo. I think that's awesome. Does a really good job of adding good design principles like contrast for the negatives. Yeah, playing on the negatives. Lifetime penalty, $800 a year. I really like that. Really good interactions with the hover and the gradients. So good contrasted CTA there. Let's check out the pricing calculator here. Okay, this is awesome. If it's correct, 7,300 to 100. Wow. I really like this section right here. We're going to have to steal that for the site almost, even if it's not the other side to this. I really love this pricing calculator. It has a little disclaimer here at the bottom, so a lot we can work with there. But it follows the hierarchy so well. It displays so cleanly. This section design-wise is kind of making me mad. I don't like the red and also the gradients in here too. But it does have a good section for addressing objections. I don't think any of our other references had objection tacklers, is what we call it. Oh yeah, they did. Lovable had that. Let's see if Bolt had that on their site. This is Base 44. Yeah, no good. So I like how it had the objection tacklers in there. I'm a big fan of that. If I go back to Base 44 site here, this is just way too many benefits for this benefits section, and it's still stacked them out. But I do like how it has one that says no sales pressure ever. I wish the typography was the same size there, but again, I'm nitpicking. Check out the FAQ section. I like that interaction, how it closes the previous one and jots back up to the next one. And this section I absolutely love. Wow. a really good contrasted CTA. Wow. Autofill, employee, schedule consultation. Wow. Base 44. Okay. Wow, this looks incredible. This is awesome. So it got our fonts right too. It has Lato, Roboto, Bold, Lato. These forms, man, the forms and the pricing calculator. Base 44 kind of snapped. I'm not going to lie. Again, this is way too much information above the fold, but directionally, it's given us so much to work with. Wow, I did not expect base 44 to be this good. I did not expect this at all, and this is kind of blowing my mind a little bit, to be honest with you. So those are our 5 tools, and now that we have more than enough that we need to work with, I love this grading section up here, so good. I'm actually really excited to get into design. So as I mentioned in the beginning, I have a little bonus tool for you guys. And in my Figma file, what I usually do is I use the Reloom clonable to get some brand ideation going. I upload our brand guideline, all of our logo variations, and then I'll either use Affinity Designer or Adobe Illustrator to kind of apply vectors to them so that I can customize them here in Figma. But I'm playing around with a few concepts in terms of the logo variation. I'm a big fan of this logo. I didn't like it to begin with, but I think the designer snapped on this. Shout out Jason again. The colors leave a little bit to be desired, but I think we can work around that. The Vital Lime and the green, as you guys have seen in the demos, are kind of hard to work with, but I think it shouldn't be an issue. So, yes, this is awesome. So what I'm actually going to do is I mentioned the bonus app that I'm going to share with you guys. It's a tool I use here in Figma called HTML to Design. Now, after we've deployed all of those 5 websites, we now have a published and hosted link that we can use to pull designs from. I'm just going to go in and redeploy our Magic Path one because I did like that one the best. I'm going to hit preview again. I'm going to copy the link, and then I do really like how this has interaction in that, so that's really cool. But anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to try HTML to Design using the Magic Path link that it's given us and see if that one works instead. Hit add to canvas, and boom. Okay, so this has done a much better job. So what I have here, as you guys can see, is I have an actual Figma layout that I can go in and I can move all of these blocks, and it has all of these as frames here on the left side. So now I have a reference that's at a desktop breakpoint that I can go in and edit to my heart's content. It's pulled in the pricing calculator, and it has all the elements from the original design right here. Now it's in a Figma file where I can take some of these brand assets and apply them to the new design. So that's going to be a lot of fun, and it gets me really excited to see how I can use this more in the design process. So let's try some of our other links. So let's try our bolt design, see if that one works for us. So we have our aura design, poop. We're definitely not using that one. We have our bolt design here, so let's try this one. This one had some really good design components. HTML design, copy paste in, boom, import. Okay, awesome. So right here next to it, you guys are going to be able to see our bolt design. And this always helps a little bit to be able to zoom out and think, okay, structurally, layout-wise, how is this looking? We can see a few imperfections in terms of the layout, obviously, to be expected. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I really like how it does a good job creating a base concept that I can then go and apply a custom design to. Let me know if you guys want a part 2 of me going in and how I would apply my branding and customize this, because there's a lot of improvements I can make here, obviously. If we go to the exact Medicare site, this is what their main website is going to look like. So we wanted to go a little bit more Medicare appealing with their branding. So we've stuck more one-to-one with their brand guidelines. We have some more rustic colors. We're trying to speak to an older population here. So that's playing a big role in how we're going in and using a B2C site like this versus our B2B design, which is exact benefits here. It can be a little bit more ambitious and creative with animations, layouts, etc. So yeah, I like what I'm seeing. We have a lot of cool stuff to work. So that is how I'm using AI in my web design process nowadays, especially in the ideation phase. That's everything from our kickoff calls, transcripts, generating a prompt, testing with multiple tools and pulling out the things that we like, and then a bonus tool at the end to get them into Figma to start playing around. Stay tuned for part 2 of this exact benefits walkthrough, where I go on and I customize this design and really apply customization to it. So AI has been really good for generating ideas, but as you guys can see, the results are not exceptional. And stay tuned for that part where we actually make it exceptional. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for part 2, and I'll see you in that video.